All right, so I think we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So, my name is Rashida Gray of Gray Space Interiors, and I'm just going to give it a few minutes to allow people to join the live, but welcome to my house tour. So we have Rosenell, my assistant, is on the camera, and so she'll answer any questions or feed any questions to me that you guys may have. But I'm so excited to get started. So excited to share my home with you. All right, what are we looking like in terms of numbers, Rose?
We currently have 429 people on here.
Awesome, good. That's a good amount to get started. All right. So while we wait for everyone to join the live, I would love to hear where you guys are from. I'm actually a designer out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So my home is right outside of Philadelphia. Where are you guys from? Tell me in the comments where you're from, where you're at. I would love to know. And while we do that, I'll give you a little background on my home and we'll go inside for the tour. So my home was actually, oh, Rose, are you getting some?
Yeah, we have someone from Barcelona, Spain.
Oh, awesome.
Some people from Argentina, DC, South Carolina.
Wow, awesome.
Cape Cod, okay.
Ooh, I was just in Cape Cod last spring. It's beautiful in Cape Cod. Beautiful. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for joining. So excited to be here. Again, my name is Rashida Gray of Gray Space Interiors. We are a design firm based out of Philadelphia, and we are touring my home today. And my home is right outside of Philadelphia in Cheltenham, Pennsylvania. A little background about my home. It is a mid-century split-level home. It was built in 1961. And we've been here, my family and I, for about 5 years. And so we are just kind of renovating and really upgrading our home to our desire and our taste. And so I'm so excited to share with you what we've done. All right, so let's go inside. Come on in. Oh, here. All right, so almost forgot my placement. So welcome. So when you come into my home, you'll notice that it is a split level home. It has a very open floor plan. And so one of the very first things that I wanted to focus on when you enter our home is our entryway. Our entryway is an opportunity for our guests to get to know who we are. And so a great way for us to do that is through our gallery wall here. So we did our gallery wall with our family members in mind, both past and present. And so you'll see that there's a photo of my family and I. I have two children, a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. And there also are photos of our grandparents and our great-grandparents. This one's really special to me. This is my great-grandmother, Margaret. And Margaret Edmonds was born in 1897. And Margaret gave birth to my grandmother, who was the last of 17 children. And when she had my grandmother, she actually passed away. And that was in the mid-1930s. And so, of course, modern medicine may have been different, but she, was a woman who had many children. And I just love to have her here with us because it's because of her that, I am here. So this is my family's gallery wall, my husband and I in Paris, just special moments. What I love most about this gallery wall is that it probably cost me about $45 to make. And essentially I did that through using photo frames that I had around the house and spray painted them so that they all would be the same and create some consistency. And so you'll see that all of the photo frames are consistent with a white mat and black and white photos. And then what I did is take photo frames that were wood and white and spray painted them so that they are black matte as well. And so this is our gallery wall. There's a nice beautiful bench as soon as you come in so that if you wanted to relax and take off your shoes, and it also provides extra seating as well.
Nice. We do have a question.
Okay.
Someone was asking, how did you select your photos? How did you decide where to place your pictures?
I think gallery walls are somewhat of an art, somewhat of a science. So I always say with gallery walls that you should have consistency. So you can have consistency in a few ways. One, in the black and white photos. They're all black and white in this case. If you decide to use color, that's fine. You can have consistency in the color of the frames. But for me, I have the consistency both in the frame color and the black and white photos. So I can go a little crazy with the placement of the gallery wall itself. And so I know I wanted to go high to highlight my tall ceilings in our home. So our ceilings are 11-foot high ceilings, and I wanted to make sure that they were highlighted. So I knew I wanted to go tall, but I kind of went a little random with the placement just because I already had the consistency with the color of the photos in the frame. So I hope that helps. It's always helpful to plan a gallery wall on the floor first and then apply it to the wall. All right, so that's our entryway. When you come into our home, we have a step down living room and then a step up dining room. So we're going to step down into the living room. And one of the very first things you'll see and notice is the big bay window that I have in my home. So this is one of the reasons that I actually love the home is because of all the natural sunlight. And these windows are original to the house. I mentioned my home is mid-century. Essentially, it was built in 1961. And so the windows are original. They are beautiful. I love the panes of the windows. And I wanted to highlight that. And so when I went with all white on the walls throughout my home, I wanted to make sure that the windows themselves kind of stood out. And so I did that with a black paint. So the windows are painted black. I think it makes them not only stand out, but also provides a modern aesthetic to the home because they're painted black. So these are our windows that I love. And then as you kind of toggle over into the living room, one of the first things that you see is this kind of cozy nook here. So this is what I like to call my self-care nook. And so when I'm in the living room, it's facing away from the television. It also provides an opportunity for conversation when we are entertaining. But what I love about it is just an area where I can sit and read and having a view of the window to look outside and see all the greenery. It's just a cozy spot in our home. I really love it. We do have this artwork here that I framed myself. It's from an artist by the name of Barina. And I'm not going to mess up Barina's last name, but she is an artist out of Bulgaria. And I love her figurative art. It's really beautiful. And so, you know, art is very personal and it should speak to you. And for me, this figurative art really just kind of shows that you can kind of be who you are. There isn't really a defined face in any of the photos. So when guests enter our home, I really want them to feel that way. And so that's why I selected this art piece. So we can go over to one of my favorite features in our home, which is our fireplace wall. So when we were redesigning our home, one thing that I noticed is how I love the openness of the home, but it's very massive. And so our living room is open to our dining room, and we have this one continuous wall between the two spaces. And so I really wanted to keep the open flow, but create a sense of separation and coziness. And so the way we did that was with this fireplace wall. My husband actually built it, and he built it from 2x4 wood pieces and drywall. And essentially what I love most about it is the finish that's on the wall. So this is a paint finish, and it looks concrete, I believe. So it looks concrete, but it's paint. This paint is by Portola Paints, Portola, Portola Paints, and it's a Roman clay finish. And so I love this paint because it really marries the theme that I have for this space. And so my husband and I took a trip to Paris and London end of 2018. And so since then I was inspired by the old world architecture that's in Paris and London. And you know, I live here in Philly and we have beautiful architecture, but London and Paris really embody kind of another area, I would say, of time. And so I fell in love with that. There were a lot of gray tones, a lot of tans, a lot of blacks and browns. And as a designer, I see color every single day. And so I wanted my home to feel neutral and calm and at peace. And so this mimics some of the architecture that we saw in Paris and the color as well.
We have a question. Someone asked, how did you decide on an electric fireplace?
Yeah, good question. A few reasons. I didn't want to do something that was permanent. So as a designer, I think a fly got in here. So as a designer, I often change my mind. And so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that was too permanent with a gas fireplace or a wood burning fireplace. Additionally, we do have a wood burning fireplace in the lower level of our home. We won't be touring that area today. I'm sure we'll do it in the future. But just in terms of time's sake, we do have a wood burning fireplace in our home. We didn't necessarily need the heat value of this fireplace, but really the ambiance. And so I wanted this, again, to appear very modern. And I think using an electric fireplace in combination with those other reasons is why we decided to go with the electric. So we have this paint finish. The color is called Black Star by Portola Paint. And we wanted to leave it insert for the television in the fireplace. I battled with whether I wanted to have a television in the living area for a while. And I do, because it's a great source of entertainment, but it's recessed in a way, and it actually pulls out as well. But it's recessed in a way that it's not a focal point of the space. All right, so in my living area, we have this coffee table here, which I love. It's called the Volker Coffee Table by Uttermost. We have this credenza piece here as well. So I mentioned I have a 10 and a 15-year-old, so we have to have lots and lots and lots of storage options. So this credenza here is by Uttermost as well. And I really love it. It's called the Haley Cabinet. It's beautiful, and I really love the shagreen finish. So although my home is pretty neutral in color, it's very heavy on textures. And so again, the Portola paint that looks concrete, the shagreen front on this cabinet, and then there's a lot of wood grain textures. Also, this area rug I love a lot. It's very plush. It is by Syria, and it's called The Klein. It's neutral, but it has movement in it as well, which I do love. And there's a hint of metallic in the area rug, which is excellent. So I think we should go over to the dining room area. That would be great. You guys can check that out. Any questions popping up right now, Riz?
Right now, no, people are loving the ideas you're sharing. Oh, how hard or easy was it to install the fireplace?
I have to ask my husband that. Actually, it does take time. You know, I was here with him and I was kind of like his sous contractor or handyman through it. It does take time to install, but with proper measurements and proper cuts, it's not terribly difficult, but it does take a level of skill. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it as a DIY. So my husband's a general contractor. So not a DIY, but something that isn't terribly difficult to install. All right, so we are here in my dining room area, which I love, love, love. When I was creating this space, I really wanted it to feel like a restaurant. And we renovated everything during the quarantine. And so we weren't able to go out. And I was like, well, we should try to create a restaurant space at home. So that's what this room really represents. Again, heavy on texture. So you can see we have a wood pallet table. We have kind of carved in a chevron pattern here on the credenza. And we have velvet textured chairs. And so the inspiration behind this was a bit of Paris, but also what restaurants that I love to visit, even in our area, and what were the elements that those restaurants had. So I noticed they had wood tables, and I noticed they had very soft and plush seating. And so I wanted to mimic that in this space. So one of the very first things that you see here is this credenza cabinet. This is by Uttermost as well. The name of it is the Zadie cabinet. And what you'll notice is there's actually two cabinets here. So they're both 36-inch cabinets. Definitely not long enough to be by themselves. And so I doubled it. I couldn't take my eye off the cabinet itself. But I wanted to use it in the space, and so that it's scaled appropriately, I ended up using two cabinets. So you certainly can do that in a space, and I think it works really well. I really don't recall where this art piece is from. I do know I framed it myself. The frame is actually thrifted. So I found the frame at a thrift store, and I'm not sure where the artwork is from. I've had it for a long time, over 5 years. These lamps I love. They were reused. I've used them in the renovation. They're actually from Z Gallery, so I've had them for some years now. And this table is one of my favorite finds. So this table is by Four Hands, and I actually found it on Craigslist. So a little old school with Craigslist, but it is still a great source to find secondhand furniture. The story behind this is it was never used. It was too big for the person who sold it to me for their home, and they weren't able to return it. So they brought it from a furniture boutique in the area. I saw it online on Craigslist, and I knew right away that this was Four Hands. And so I loved it, fell in love with it, and brought it from them for a third of the price. So it's a great find. With the table, I wanted to make sure that I created some consistency between both rooms. And so you'll notice that I have some napkins here that are the same pattern of the chairs that are in my living room. This is a Cuba cloth, and I love this pattern. It adds a bit of culture to the space in addition to texture. And another DIY project that I did that's really quick and easy are these candle holders. And so the candle holders are different sizes with black candles in them. And it's DIY because some of these candle holders I've owned for quite some time. And they were silver and they were gold. I think one was even maroon. And so I spray painted all of them a matte black so that we have an array of matching candle holders here. I love, love, love. I think the star of this room is this light fixture. It's by Kichler, Kichler. And Kichler created this light. It's called the Eris chandelier. It's really pretty. I love it on a dimmer. It definitely is fun. I love the lucite pieces in it combined with the chrome. And you'll notice I kind of mix and match metals in the space. And so I have a little gold, a little chrome. Just have fun. I feel like mixing metals gives it an extra layer.
Someone is asking about your candle holders. Where did you get them from?
So they are my own. Actually, half of them I own for years. And the other half, I think I purchased from like At Home or something, like a local home goods kind of store. So the taller ones I've owned, actually my sister owned these, and I saw them at her house and they were bright gold. And I was like, you're not using them, can I have them? And then so I spray painted them to match the other ones that I purchased. So yeah, these are a combination of my own and purchased from At Home, which is kind of a local home goods store.
And where are your chairs from?
My chairs are from Meridian Furniture. So these are called the Carita chair from Meridian. And I just love how it's very kind of sleek and silhouette. It doesn't take up a lot of visual space, but it has heavy impact with the texture and the color. I love black. So this is beautiful. It works well in this space. And it's also kid-proof. So as we go over to windows again, I wanted to highlight my window treatments here. So these drapery panels have a story with them. If you've been following on House Beautiful, you probably saw a post or an article that highlighted the drapery panels. These are actually from Target. And so I really, really love this pattern. I had a short time frame of when I had to have the drapery panels done, and I could not find the fabric. I kind of had the vision in my head, couldn't find the fabric anywhere, and searched around on Google and Target with great SEO, and search engine results popped up with this fabric. Actually, it was a curtain. It popped up with this curtain. But there was one issue, and that was it had grommet tops. So those are the tops of the curtains where there's rings. And I personally don't love grommet top curtains. And I also wanted to create a really formal feel in this space. And so I knew I wanted a pinch pleat at the top. And so I took these curtain panels from Target, ordered them in the size higher than I needed, and took them to my workroom to have them custom, semi-custom made. And so they chopped off the grommet, did pinch pleats at the top, and they also added beautiful lining to the back of the curtains. One, that helps with blackout, but secondly, it gives the curtain a little bit of a heaviness so that it falls really nicely in the space. So that is the story behind my drapery panels. All right, so shall we go ahead and go to the next space? So I'm going to take you guys, this is our main level, our first floor. I'm going to take you down to the lower level. That's where the party happens. Not really. That's where the work happens. So you'll come with me. Any questions coming up about up here before we go down?
No, actually someone wants the color again for the Portola paint.
Sure. So the color of the Portola paint is Black Star. I should mention that with the Portola paint, it is applied with a trowel. So it's not applied with a brush, it's applied with a trowel because it's a thicker consistency. And so in order to get the texture on the fireplace, you actually take a trowel and apply it. But it is a DIY, like you could do this yourself. You could apply the paint yourself. And it's very cost effective too. It's a really nicely priced paint that gives you a great option. And they have other finishes. There's a lime wash finish in addition to the clay finish.
Awesome. Someone's asking about the area rug in your dining room.
Oh, okay. So I totally forgot where I got that from. I believe Safa Bay carries a similar rug. If you search antelope area rugs, then you'll find it. I think Ballard Designs has a similar rug as well. But try Safa Bay or Ballard. You're doing a good job of keeping up the questions.
Someone else is asking, are these floors original to the house or did you make changes to the floors as well?
I made changes to the floors. And I'm going to make changes again, I think, pretty soon. So when I first moved in, the contractor mentioned to us that, there was a vinyl flooring covering the beautiful original hardwood floors to this house. And so the contractor at the time said that we had too many nails in our hardwood to pull it up and to use it. And I believed him at the time. I now know better. So there's no such thing as too many nails. So yeah, these are not the original floors. There's beautiful 3-inch pine hardwood floors underneath this. And so in time, we'll totally refinish those floors. I certainly, especially living in this area in Philadelphia or the northeast part of the country, I certainly prefer the original hardwood floors.
Okay. And someone asked about lighting in a slanted ceiling. What are your recommendations? Yeah. Do you have recessed lights?
So we have can recessed lights in this space. Believe it or not, we actually just had those installed about 6 months ago. And so before there wasn't lighting in this space. And my assumption is that because the home is older and because we have 2 large windows, one at the front of the home and one at the back, the builder didn't think that you needed overhead lighting. I'm not sure. It's a common thing in this area to not have overhead lighting. So we added recessed cans because I really wanted a clean look and feel in this space. And then also the dining room is right off of the living room and we have a chandelier hanging there. So, you know, we really wanted to keep it clean and go with the recessed lights in the living room. And I should mention, speaking of lighting, I do have an entry light here. This is by Kichler as well. And this light is Urzo. Thank you, Rose. So this is the Urzo light by Kichler. So we like to have that in the entry, and it's nice just kind of have that illuminated in the evenings, and turn down the rest of the lights.
Mm-hmm. Right. Someone is asking about these circles.
Oh, the baskets.
The baskets on your wall.
So, I had empty space, and so I wanted to fill it. I really like the basket idea. Again, continuing with texture in the space. And then also the baskets to me signify giving. Like whenever someone's carrying a basket, they're giving something. And so when you walk into our home, I want you to feel a sense of that you're being given to, that we're taking care of you. So that's why the baskets are there in the entry.
Awesome.
All right, so we are going to go ahead downstairs to our lower level. Down here we have two spaces that I want to share with you. One is our powder room. And then the second space is our design studio.
All right.
Oh, I should close this one too. It's supposed to be a surprise. Okay, so we are at the lower level of our home, and our powder room is the first spot. You'll notice that our home has kind of a black and white, very neutral feel to it, which is intentional. Our doors are black. By the way, the paint color that we use is called Tricorn by Sherwin-Williams. But our powder room gives us a punch of color. So, welcome to our powder room. I really wanted to give you a feel of a hotel restroom. And then fun. So we still have the black and white theme going with the wallpaper, but there's pops of color. And I probably would not have done this any other place in our home. But this space is like small enough in size that we can do it in a fun way that's not overwhelming. So this wallpaper is by Graham and Brown. And they have been generous partners in this process. So Graham and Brown, this wallpaper is called Jardin, Jardin. And this is the black and white colorway. There's also a yellow, and there's a pink. And there's so many different options. But I love this because we're still with the black and white theme, but giving us pops of color. So behind me, we have a juju hat. I love juju hats. And I love it in this space because it picks up the gray that you see in the walls. But I also love juju hats because of the meaning. So a juju hat, J-U-J-U, is a headdress originally from the country of Cameroon. And Cameroon, I found out, is where most of my ancestry is from. And so Cameroon holds a special place in my heart. The juju hat is from there, and it's just beautiful, and it's texture again on the wall, and otherwise kind of a bland space. So great juju hat. And if you want to pan around to the vanity here, and I'll pop out, we actually refinished our vanity to be a navy blue. The color is Naval by Sherwin-Williams, and I love this color because it really brings out the blue in the space.
Someone's asking, where can you get the juju hat?
They're actually kind of sold everywhere. I would say, one of my favorite vendors is African Touch Accents. They carry a multitude of juju hats. One of the originators in carrying the juju hat, so African Touch Accents. But I actually have seen them in Home Goods and other places, kind of very generic, I would say.
Okay.
All right.
Someone is asking wallpaper again.
Yes.
What is the name of it and the vendor?
So this is a wallpaper by Graham and Brown. And Graham and Brown is a wallpaper company out of London. And the name of this pattern is called Jardin, Jardin. And I want to give a huge shout out to my wallpaper installer, Randy Wardroll. He did an amazing job. Rose, if you could pan around to the light switches in here.
Sure
I just think that is such a really special touch to have the light switches kind of blended in with the rest of the space. So you can see that they're seamlessly papered as well. And he did an amazing job on this space. Additionally, I will also want to highlight my painter. So Burgess Brothers is a local painter here in Philadelphia. And he and his team painted our vanity, painted all the trim work. You'll notice that the trim work in our powder room is a different color than the trim work throughout the rest of the house. That was intentional. So it maybe, Rose, if you want to pop in and close the door so that you can show the black trim work. Having white trim work in here kind of felt too stark. And so I really wanted to make sure that we highlighted the black trim work in the powder room and the black overall. And there's black on the ceiling as well. All right.
Someone is asking, is wallpaper expensive and can peel and stick give the same look of elegance?
Well, I couldn't have paid you to say that because I used peel and stick in the next space that we're going to look at. So is wallpaper expensive? It varies in price. I have used wallpapers that could be as low as $10 a square foot to as high as $400 a square foot. So totally depends on the paper that you use, and totally depends on your taste and the material that the paper's made of. I will say wallpaper has definitely made a comeback. It's an amazing accent to a space, and it really gives you a very unique feel to a space. So our next area we're going to tour is our in-home design studio. So this is where myself and our team makes all the magic with our interior design firm and our clients. So I will take you into that space. Come on in. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we wanted to continue with the black and white theme in this space, but also make it feel like it's a separate part of the home. And so this is our design studio. First thing I'll highlight, since we just talked about it, is the black and white wallpaper. So this is a black and white peony pattern. It's by Coloretto. It's a vendor on Etsy, and it is peel and stick. And so I went with peel and stick in this space because I know that I probably would change my mind pretty often. So this is easy to apply and easy to remove. And I wanted to continue the black and white theme. I also wanted to have an office that was a great combination of femininity and business at the same time. And so the floral pattern helps with that. So in our office space, one of the very first things you probably noticed outside of the black and white wallpaper is this huge work table. I love this work table. It is a table by transformertable.com. And I love this table because it has multiple leaves built into the table. So it expands from as small as a 24-inch console table to as large as a 10-foot conference table. And so this is, it could be anything from a dining table to a work table that we have it, but I just love how it's very flexible in use. And so this is actually not the fullest extent that it could be expanded. This could also be expanded another 2 feet, actually a little over 2 feet. So it's a super flexible piece of furniture, which I love. I think especially right now that we're all home during quarantine and you have to use your spaces and your rooms for multiple things, having a piece of furniture that's flexible in this way is excellent. So this again is called, this is by transformertable.com. Again, we have Meridian chairs. So these are chairs by Meridian. I don't recall the name of these right away, but these are chairs by Meridian. And I'm kind of obsessed with self-care nooks. So we left the door open, so there's a few, like, flies around. But this, again, is, if you're working in the home, in an office space, you really want to have an area where you can kind of sit and unwind and really decompress and get away from the computer a bit, or even take your laptop over here. So this is what we call our self-care nook in our design studio, I should say. And so we just have a chair and a small table. There's a notepad, and what I love most about this area is our beautiful, beautiful African princess. And so this art piece is called African Princess by Uttermost. I purposely wanted to pull this in an oversized size for the space. I wanted it to have really a strong presence in the space. And so for me, when I saw this art piece, I kind of thought she really embodies both femininity and power in the same. And I want our team to be empowered in that way. And so this piece spoke to me, and she's kind of a part of our team now. And then we just have lots of great storage for all of our sample books and all of our paint swatches, just lots of storage. And this piece is from IKEA, and it fit perfectly in a space according to the measurements. And so it almost feels like it's built in. And then there's one more thing I wanted to highlight in here, maybe two. Something that's really special to me in this space is this chandelier. So this chandelier is actually original to the house, and it was in our dining room. And so we brought the chandelier from our dining room down to our home office when we made the renovations and changes upstairs. I fell in love with the chandelier when we brought the home. It was another reason why I loved it, in addition to the windows. And so I really feel like it adds a sense of elegance into this space, and it tells a story. It's a original part of the home. This area, or this room, once upon a time was a garage before I owned it. And then it became my husband's man cave, and now it's our design studio. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't get rid of this. It's beautiful, and used it in a space where it would be appreciated, and we really love to have it down here in the design studio. So I didn't talk about our brainstorming bench. We just like to have multiple seating options in this space. So in this area, we'll drop any ideas on the board, kind of take a break from working and sit here and just kind of relax and think. So just another small area in our design studio. All right. Any questions on the design studio?
Some people are asking about peel and stick wallpaper. Is it damaging to paint? And also, is it easy to install? I believe was the next question.
Yeah. I did not install. I think peel and stick can be just as complicated to install because you have the added factor of the adhesive kind of sticking along the way. So I wouldn't say it's easier to install than pasted wallpaper. I think what the attraction is the flexibility to peel it off when you're done without having to scrape off adhesive or glue or anything like that. Because I've done wallpaper removal before, and it has been very labor intensive. So worth it though, but labor intensive.
Okay. And then I guess someone was asking about why the wallpaper didn't go all the way up to your ceiling.
Oh, there's a soffit here. I haven't quite figured out. Well, actually, I shouldn't call it a soffit. There's a recessed tray ceiling, I guess I would say. I haven't quite figured out if there's a mechanical reason for it, but there is lighting up there, so I'll just kind of cut that on so you can see. So when you want to get some work done but have dim lighting, this is an option. So there's an LED strip up there. I think the previous owners just wanted that aesthetic. So yeah, that's why I stopped it at the natural line of this tray ceiling.
Okay. Someone asked How did you start your journey in designing?
That's a very long story. I will say that design is a second career for me. I spent 15 years in marketing, corporate America, and it was something that's always been a part of my life. And I finally kind of listened to myself a bit and decided to go for it. My full design journey story can be found on my website, so feel free to go to gracefaceinteriors.com. Graceface with the A, singular, interiors with the S, gracefaceinteriors.com. All right, so let's just do one quick pan through of the entire home and then answer any last questions, and I think we'll be good to go.
All right. The office.
All right. Powder room.
Sorry.
Any questions come up, Rose?
How do you keep your home so clean?
I threaten my kids, no. We just have designated areas, and so this is the area that is kind of the adult area, if you will. And of course I clean for you guys, but we really just have our children, they have their bedrooms, and they have our lower level den where they can kind of lounge and hang out. So this is our entertainment space, and it's kind of always neat because of that. But yeah, it's a good question. Everyone always asks me that. It doesn't always look this way, but it's pretty close. And my children are older, so I'm able to do that.
Do you like or dislike dark hardwood?
Oh, I like dark hardwood. It gets dusty every now and again, but it's very low maintenance and it's easy to clean and it hides dirt. So I do like dark hardwood, especially because I have light walls, and so I like the contrast. I don't know if I mentioned the paint color on my wall is Pure White by Sherwin-Williams, and they've been a very generous sponsor as well. So love, love, love their emerald paint line. It's really great. Goes on smooth.
Someone's asking about your living room chairs.
Oh, these babies. I didn't mention these. These are by Four Hands as well. So these chairs are called the Lillian chair by Four Hands. I really love these chairs because of the high profile, and I like them here because they give you a little bit of separation between the living room and dining room. So they're just a nice addition. I also love the traditional lines of the wingback chair. So you probably notice my style is a little bit contemporary with a mix of traditional, and I would say maybe a hint of global. So a combination of those three. So yeah, I really love, and of course the texture with the velvet and the nail head trim. I love these chairs. I forgot to mention that this is another easy DIY. This table was originally gold, and so when I made changes to my home, as opposed to getting rid of it, I wanted to keep it, and so I sprayed this with a matte black as well. And I love a matte paint color. All of my paint colors throughout our home or either matte or satin, which is kind of the next level up. I typically stay away from a shine finish in a paint, like a semi-gloss or high gloss. Even on trim, especially in the northeast part of the country where our homes are older and there's lots of settlement cracks and nail pops. And so using a matte or a flat finish hides all of those things. And I also think it's easier on the eyes because there isn't shine bouncing back to your eyes when you look at it. It feels soothing to me.
Very nice.
All right, so if we don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and sign off. If you guys have any questions, feel free to inbox me. My Instagram handle is @Grayspace Interior Design, GRAY, Grayspace Interior Design, and inbox me, and we'll pin it in the comments. And if you have any questions, I'll be sure to answer. Thank you for watching. Thank you, House Beautiful, for having me. And I had so much fun, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.